Hey guys, Chris here with The Good Old Gamer. So today we're going to talk about AMD's response to Turing. And I think it's the most perfect response that they could have put out there. And I know you guys are probably scratching your head wondering what it is that I'm talking about. And that's what we're going to go over here in this video. Also, I want to talk about some of the hard numbers that I missed in the last video, and some of you guys actually brought it up in the comments section, and how that relates into what I think AMD's response is going to be. So stick around and check it out. So I want to start off this video by letting you guys know that these are just my thoughts and opinions on what's going to happen in the future with AMD. Now, this is based on what they've been doing here recently, and I'll go ahead and cover that with you. So starting off, AMD has been dead silent. The silence has been deafening since the entire launch of Turing, since the rumors have come out, since basically throughout the entire summer, they haven't said word one about what they're going to be doing with their new GPUs coming out in the future. Now, they've talked very openly about Vega 20, and how that's going to come out for the server market and for deep learning and things like that. But they've said nothing, next to nothing, about Navi. And I think there's a very good reason for this. AMD learned from Vega's mistakes, which was, let's go ahead and overhype the shit out of this thing. And then when it comes out, it's got to be at least somewhere close to what we're proposing, I suppose, which Vega actually failed to meet that demand. And this actually allowed Nvidia to bring out the 1080 Ti at only $699. If you guys remember, back then, we thought that the 1080 Ti was going to launch at $999 because prices were going up across the board. And honestly, they could have released it at $999 and it still would have sold very well. But because of how hyped up Vega was at the time, they didn't want to be caught with their pants down. So they brought it out at $699, and it pretty much crushed Vega's dreams from that point forward. If you guys remember, that's the reason why AMD stopped talking about Vega right after that card launched. So instead, they decided to just shut their mouths and get to work. And this has worked out very, very well for them. They went ahead, they didn't really hype up the Ryzen 2000 series all that much. It just kind of came out and delivered exactly the performance levels that they said that it would. So they just shut up and delivered. And I think that this has become the new way of them marketing, is basically just allow the market to go ahead and do what it's going to do and then come out and actually deliver. And in this case, I think they knew, at least by the time that RTX was revealed, they may have known earlier. I mean, I knew, and I've talked about it on the channel here, that RTX, the whole series, was going to have issues. It wasn't going to be anywhere near the level of competition that anybody was expecting. We weren't expecting these performance levels. We were expecting or hoping for much higher. But once numbers came out, we knew that wasn't going to happen. With the prices also being heavily inflated, that just really hurts the whole situation even further. You can see the comment sections around the web in all of the RTX reviews. People are just not happy with this launch. So allowing Nvidia to just go ahead and hang themselves out to dry is honestly the best move that AMD could possibly do. Just let them do whatever it is that they were going to do. Let them take the heat, because now they're competing with themselves. AMD competed with Nvidia over the years. We had cards like the RX 480, which was very competitive with the GTX 1060, and of course over time, it even beats it in some titles. And then there were also times where AMD actually won the generation, with the Radeon R9 290X being the last of those, and that was only a few years ago, back in 2013. But this honestly doesn't matter. The mind share of Nvidia has been so strong that the only one that could take Nvidia down is Nvidia. And it looks like they have started that process. They have broken their own armor. They are no longer invincible. They are no longer delivering massive performance gains generation after generation. We're seeing prices go through the roof, and we're seeing performance just piddling up just a little bit. They're creating a whole new class of GPU at the $1,200 mark that never used to exist. There was no GeForce $1,200 card at any other point in time. Now there is, and it's only 30-ish% faster than last generation's $700 GPU. Nobody's really too thrilled with this at this point. Now, looking at the comment section of my video from yesterday, glorious 4K 60 FPS, he actually put up some pretty cool numbers here. Now, I knew all of these off the top of my head, but I forgot to show them in yesterday's video. I was going to put this up. But anyway, basically, you have the 780 Ti to the 980 Ti, you saw about a 30% performance improvement. From the 980 Ti to the 1080 Ti, a 44% improvement, so even better. And then from the 1080 Ti to the 2080 Ti, overall about a 28% improvement. This was shown through all the benchmarks from yesterday. Now, Samsonite Dove took it one step further by comparing the price to the performance improvement. So from the 780 Ti to the 980 Ti, 30% more improvement, 7% price decrease, price went down, so you got a better value for your money. 980 Ti to the 1080 Ti, 44% improvement, 8% price increase, so the price did go up, but you're gaining 44%, so it doesn't really matter, it's still better value for your money. 1080 Ti to 2080 Ti, 28% performance improvement, 72% price increase. It's really 71.5, but he rounded up. This is a much lower value for your money. And this is the reason why I say that AMD's response is so good. Because Nvidia has really bet the farm on both RTX and this DLSS. And these are things that have not been tested. These are the reviews, the day one reviews, and they don't have any tests at all that they can go ahead and give to us as consumers to go ahead and show what this can actually do. Now, what if these do real well? Well, that's fine, and things might turn out a little bit better, but people still have that bad taste in their mouth. Now, what if they don't do well? What if, people that spend $1,200 on a GPU don't want to play their RTX games in 1080p? Well, then they're not going to use it, and that really doesn't matter at all. What if, people with a 2070, an RTX 2070, can't even do ray tracing at any reasonable resolution? Well, they're not going to use it. They're going to turn it off, and then that feature does not matter at all either. So basically, Nvidia has put all of their eggs in this RTX basket, which is smart because if it pays off, they can build their walled garden, and developers are basically going to use their cards first and everything else second once it comes to the PC ports. Obviously, console versions will be developed either separately or they will be developed first and then converted over for PC. Now, what AMD can do in this current market is, number one, wait a little while. Let people get as upset with these things as possible. Basically, let the fever pitch of the market do what they're going to do. This buys them time to go ahead and finish up whatever they're working on. We know it's Navi, but I'm sure that they're tweaking it and refining the process. And, obviously we don't even know if they're being produced yet. We have no idea what the launch window looks like. They may, well, not may. I know that they're going to want to release the 7nm Vegas, because that's supposed to come out this year. And then obviously right after that, they want to bring out Rome, which is the 7nm EPYC CPUs, because those are high margin devices there. They want to bring those out because that's going to make them a shit ton of money. So that's the first priority. And then they're probably going to do like Ryzen 2 or the 3000 series, for the desktop, because, well, that's just the scaled back version of whatever Rome's going to be. So might as well do that. Then's probably going to be Navi. So I don't think we're going to see a response until the middle of next year. But like I said, unless Nvidia cuts their prices significantly, it doesn't really matter because the market's just going to keep getting more and more pissed off at them if they don't. Now, honestly, the sweet spot for them, this is just me, this is just my suggestion. I don't work for AMD, I don't know what they're doing. But if they can bring out GPUs at the $400 to $500 price point that perform similarly in rasterization, just completely ignoring RTX and ray tracing at this point. They absolutely shouldn't even waste their time on that. But if they can bring out basically 1080 Ti or RTX 2080 level performance at that $399 to $499 price point, that would be significantly less than what Nvidia is offering. Also, they can go ahead and produce a chip between the $200 to $250 mark that could probably perform about the same as a GTX 1080 Ti or a Vega 64. If I were AMD, that would be my goal. Those would be the two target goals. Leave the 2080 Ti alone, unless if their new architecture is just that good, well then go for it. But those are pretty much the two price and performance segments that make a lot of sense. Most PC gamers are only gaming at 1080p or 1440p on the higher end. Most people are not gaming at 4K unless they're playing in the living room because, well, there's really only one high FPS 4K display, and let's face it, most people are not spending $2,000 on a monitor. So there's really no reason to attack that market right now. But if they could both get the value and the performance levels that people want, people basically want 1080 Ti level performance, and they don't want to spend a fortune for it. That's the biggest reason why people are upset with this new RTX series, because more performance costs more money. We're typically used to getting better performance for the same money, and we're just simply not getting that this time around. Hell, even if you want the same performance as the 1080 Ti, it costs you more money. So it's pretty much lose-lose all around. So that's just my thoughts. I think that that would be the smart play for AMD. I think they're sitting in a good spot. Let people go ahead and make up their minds on Nvidia versus Nvidia and just stay the hell out of it. Just back up and be like, all right, let's let them deal with their own shit, and we'll just come in with a better option here in the not too distant future. Not to say that Nvidia at that point wouldn't have their own option to go ahead and counter that, but you never really know. So I think that that's the smart move. It's very similar to what they did with the Radeon 4000 series against the GTX 280 and 260. Those were very expensive cards at the time, and honestly, Nvidia just couldn't quite get the performance that they wanted out of them. And then the 4000 series came out at a much better price, much smaller chip, able to deliver similar performance, albeit a little bit slower overall, but still delivered good competitive performance at a much, much lower price. And honestly, if they can repeat that, that would be very strong for them. That was the last major win for ATI back in the day. That was right about the time that AMD bought them. I think it was right after that GPU launch. And then the 5000 series was pretty solid, and then we started running into kind of issues there. But that was the last time Nvidia really stumbled. And honestly, I think that this launch is equally as bad as the GTX 200 series, which had a myriad of issues. People weren't super thrilled with that when it came out either. Even though it did perform well, it just didn't feel like it was worth it. And then the Radeon 4000 series came out and just completely destroyed it. So hopefully that's going to be the game plan. I could be completely wrong. I mean, they might come out with absolutely nothing, and we might just be stuck with RTX cards at $3,000 next year. I don't know what's going to happen. But I think that that would be the smart play. Target the performance that people want and target it and deliver it at a reasonable price that people are really, really excited to pay. People would be so happy to pay $400 and maybe even $500 for basically 1080 Ti level performance. And then, of course, with AMD, you have free sync on top, so you can get one of those cool Samsung TVs and play games in your living room, and that's just awesome. So that'd be really nice. So that's my hopes for the future. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you think that's even possible? Do you think that that would be enough? Or do you think that they have to bother with the high end? I think it's a waste of time for them to go that far. I just think price to performance, just smash the hell out of Nvidia at that $200, $250, and basically $400 to $500 price point. I think that that's enough, but let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you like this video, please hit that like button, please subscribe, please share with friends. That really helps me out. That's really all I have for today, and I will catch you guys in the next video.